Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. I was just demonstrating tapping pattern 22 and I did not write it. This is from the Bach cello suites. It's a cello suite 1 and it's just literally the first 4 measures. But I found it was really good when I was developing my tapping and I wanted to not have any weaknesses and I wanted to tap with all the fingers on my right hand. I came across this book because as a student in 1989, we had to go through this book and perform several of the pieces. And so I looked at it one day as I was practicing it standard, and I thought, wow, you know what, this might be a really cool tapping piece. And it turned out it was. I actually was able to play it for my 4th phase one-on-one test, play it for the great Putter Smith. Tapped, and he got a kick out of it, which I thought was really cool. So anyway, let me show you it. I'll do my best to describe it, but again, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you might want to go pause the video, go to Patreon, my Patreon page. The link is in the description below, and download the sheet music for tapping pattern 22. It's written both in standard notation and it's written in tab. And the standard notation, any notes that I tap with my fretting hand, my plucking hand, are diamond shaped. So that helps you realize which one's which. And I think as these more complex tapping patterns come along, I think the sheet music is going to be much more important. And the tab's really important because I'm showing you exactly where I worked it out. Now that's not to say that if you find that, oh, he tapped it here, but I might want to tap it there, great, explore that. And if you do and you find an alter fingering, please let me know in the description below, and I'd love to feature it because, hey, there's many ways to skin that darn cat. Okay, so let's get right into it with the very first measure. You're going to start by playing the G on the 10th fret and the D on the 12th fret of the D string. And this is kind of the foundation of it. So you're going to start. Now let me isolate what I did there. So again, the aforementioned G and D. Then I use my middle finger. I play the B on the G string, the A, B, D, B, D. So let me go there. Twice. You do that twice. Now, second measure, we're going to then we automatically go G, but we don't play the D, we play the 14th fret. And we're actually involving the line. And we go, I'm sorry. So now we're playing the G, the E on the 14th fret, the C, B, C, E, C, E. Now it's the same kind of melodic pattern, we just moved it up into a new range. So again, the beginning from the beginning. Now we start with that same G, that foundational G, we go up and we play the F sharp. Now what I like about that part of the pattern is the C, B, C stays the same. So we're just moving that middle note from an E up to an F sharp. Now the last measure that I have prepared for you today still starts with the same G, but I move my pinky because we're going G to the octave G. Alright, and the last thing was a surprise. I played it wrong for many weeks as I was developing this, and I realized, oh, that note walks down from a G to an F sharp. And that moves into the next part, but we're stopping with 4 measures. It's a lot of work, and it's going to really be a workout, especially if you're not comfortable tapping with all the fingers on your plucking hand. So let me play that slowly and try not to gab over the top so you can really hear and see what I'm doing. Have it. I really like this. Now I went on to do for the final exam, I think we had to do the first page and 2 lines on the next page, and that's how much I learned to tap. And I'm going to share something with you that hopefully you'll find helpful when you audition, or in some ways with some caveats when you're going to maybe play in front of a panel of instructors. When I was a student at MI, at one point the drummer from Tower Power is Russ McKinnon, and Russ was doing a clinic at a Musicians Institute, and I was in the audience, and he mentioned that when he auditioned for Tower of Power, they'd given him 3 songs to play. But he realized he was on the second day of auditions later in the day, which means that the band had played through those 3 songs a lot. So he learned them just in case that they required those 3 songs. But then he took a bunch of their albums and learned as many songs on them as possible. And when he went in to his audition, the guys were polite and kind, and they said, which of the songs you want to start with? And he says, well, I have them all prepared, but I also prepared this song, this song, this song, this song, this song. And they brightened up. They got excited, like, oh man, that's great. Because think about it, they've played those songs for decades, and now they're playing them in 2 days over and over and over again. So they really brightened up. They ended up not playing any of the original 3 songs, if my memory serves correct to his story he told. They played a bunch of the other songs. They had a blast. They were laughing. He got the gig. So why is that important, and why does it pertain to this? Well, since I knew that my last name, Titus, was going to fall to the very end of the finals exams, the one-on-one finals exam, I knew that Putter Smith, the instructor who was doing the testing for most of the classes, had heard this played the normal way a bunch of times. And over the year, I'd become, Putter was one of my favorite instructors, and I went to him frequently, and I think we developed a rapport. So I felt confident taking this chance. You have to really weigh your own situation. I'm not saying that, hey man, go in for your final exam and tap everything. No, you have to really feel the room. So when I went in there for my one-on-one, I did all the other stuff that was asked, played it just normal, and we got to this. I asked him. He says, "Are you ready to play, Bach Cello Suite 1?" I said, "Yes." I prepared it standard, which I had, but I also prepared it tapping, and I was curious if you'd be okay hearing it that way or both. And he's like, and he just same thing as kind of Russ's story. He brightened up. He was like, "Oh, I'd love to hear that." Now here's a foundationally an upright player, great jazz giant, a legend in our industry. But he was cool with it. He was like, "Yeah, show me." And I played it. And thank you, God, I played it well. And he just started laughing. And he had a great laugh. Any of you who have studied with Putter, you know his laugh makes you laugh. And he's like, "That's pretty dandy." And then I said, "Would you like me to hear me play it standard?" And he's like, No. I know that if you did that, you obviously can play it standard. And he gave me the highest marks possible on that. Now, again, and I don't want to be sued, you have to read the room. You have to know like the personality of the instructor. You don't just go in there and say, "Oh, you want to hear Autumn Leaves? I'm doing a slap version of it." No. You got to really check it. I took a chance. Plus, I prepared it both ways, and I asked him first. So that's something that hopefully, like if you're going to go on an audition and a band asks you to play a couple songs, they prepare a couple of their songs or a couple cover songs, do those. But if you, like, let's say it's a cover band, if you can get a hold of their set list somewhere, usually you can find set lists for bands online, on their websites. That's how they get booked. Learn as many of that as possible. Do more. And one thing, and I've used this strategy a lot in my auditions, but one thing that really worked well is when they see you've done that, they also realize, oh, it's going to take him less time to get up to speed, so we can get out and gig. It's not going to be such a drag in rehearsals. So that's a really good advice. I've used that a lot on auditions. I actually, and careful, I'm going to drop a name here. I used that when I auditioned for Steve Vai. I believe it's for Passion and Warfare, one of the albums. I was invited to audition, and same thing. The management told me to prepare 3 songs. And I learned everything off that album but one song. And went in, and sure enough, I think I was also on the second day of auditions. It was super hot, and we were at Mates Rehearsal Studios. It was just Steve Vai, Abraham Laboriel Jr., and myself. So we went in. Steve was super cordial, asked me which one I want to play, and I just literally quoted Russ. I said, "Hey, I learned those 3 songs, but also I know the other ones. Is there anything else you want to know?" And I admitted. I said I didn't have a chance to learn one of the songs. And he called off a song, and it was not on the list, and we played it, and it was just great. Unlike Russ, I did not get that gig, but had a great time, and I actually, I think developed a rapport with Steve, and it was great. Was able to talk to him years later, and he remembered it, and so that was really cool. All right, guys, so there, tapping pattern 22, and a little advice about getting your auditions, maybe improving your chances. I may do a separate video on that. So it'll be a little bit redundant, but maybe it'll be helpful for those who are searching for like how to best prepare for a music audition. All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you like this. I really like playing it. And if you like this, you can do one of two things. If you like Cello Suite 1 up to the point and you want to go farther, one is see what you can do. Take my positions and the way I'm doing it as a starting point, buy the sheet music. It's available on Amazon, on Sheet Music Direct. I think it's called Sheet Music Plus. Any of those places you can get Bach Violin Cello Suite 1. And see if you can find your own way. It's a great exercise. It really gets you thinking differently and develops your overall tapping musicality really well. If you don't have the ability to sight read music and you want more of the piece, let me know and I'll do a sequential video. I'll do the next 4 bars and the next 4 bars. So it's up to you. Just let me know in the description or the comments below. Guys, as always, please like, share, subscribe, do all those fun things that make me happy and helps grow the channel. I really love it. We're getting so close to the 1,000 subscribers mark, and I'm excited for that day. It's just, I'm gonna keep going after that, but it's just that one like mark that I've set apart that I really am excited to do. So if you haven't subscribed, it'd mean the world to me if you'd subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you at the next video.